This training video we're going to talk about clipping dirty horses. Ordinarily, it's a straight no. I wouldn't dream of clipping a horse this dirty. However, there is the odd occasion that discretion needs to be used, and I make the decision to clip the horse. There wasn't going to be another opportunity to come back and see this horse. He was clearly uncomfortable and he needed all the help he could get. His owner wasn't in a position to be able to bath him. She'd had an injury and was in a tricky situation herself. So I made the decision to actually clip him. The horse in the video is in his 30s. He has arthritis in his fetlocks, which is why he's moving quite a lot, plus a few scabs and itchiness. So you'll see him moving his weight around quite a lot. Now, this is something to take into consideration, especially with older horses, because if they're unable to hold their weight as a normal horse, a fit and healthy horse would, you have to be extra careful that they don't stand on you while they're trying to find their balance, or whether they stand on you if they lose their balance. So here I did go in to introduce myself to him, but he wasn't really that interested. Sometimes older horses, they save their energy and are happy to eat. They don't necessarily fuss as much as maybe a younger inquisitive horse. That said, not all old horses are as placid. Of course, some of them want to have a nosy just as much as others. I had been informed that he'd been clipped hundreds of times in the past by the same person who had done a great job, which would explain why he was quite happy and comfortable for me to proceed. Now, this was one of the primary factors that determined whether I was going to proceed with clipping him or not. This coat was only ever going to come off with a heavy-duty, high-powered mains clipper. I do have some A5s with me that I used in this video, just to try and see, how they were going to respond to the coat, but ultimately I knew that they wouldn't touch it. But for display purposes, I wanted to show you here the difference between the A5 clipper, the power. This is corded, however, because the coat is actually wet, it's full of dirt and dust and sand right through, I'm just unable to make an opening. Sometimes when the top of the coat is wet and dirty but the underside is clean, you can make an opening of sorts and then proceed to clip, but it was just impossible to create a big enough opening to get through this coat. Here you will notice I changed direction of clipper. Sometimes this is a useful technique to try with the horse that stood in front of you. This was never going to work on this horse, but I wanted to show it you for demonstration purposes anyway. So now we have the heavy duty, high powered A2 style clippers. These require tensioning, so you'll see me every now and again just adjusting the tensioning. Now, when you're working with such a thick, dirty and heavy coat, the tensioning is more likely to loosen off more often than it ordinarily would. This is because the coat creates resistance against the blade, so it loosens the tension off more than normal. This Superboy let me use the bigger clippers round near his head. Just remember to take extra care because they are heavier and they can do a lot of damage if you slip. And of course we gave him regular breaks to move his legs because he was getting stiff. So something to think about, especially with your older horses. Allow them to move, give them a break in the stable if they need for 5 minutes, and then carry on. It should be noted that this is an example of a horse that really you shouldn't clip ordinarily. Crucially, the learning that I'd like you to take away from this video is of an example of a coat that you just wouldn't clip. The contrast, look how dirty it is in comparison to the coat underneath. Clipping this type of coat physically is going to be so much more demanding than a clean coat. It's going to take you 3 times as long and it can be uncomfortable for the horse. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.